Welcome back, everybody. We got probably a short one today. We're just going to be trying out Satch's Cruise Boost Simulator and Rehydrated, and maybe we'll talk about... there's not too much more to talk about with Rehydrated, really, because I haven't gotten too much more from Purple Lamp yet, but I guess we'll talk about what we do now. Anyway, I'm going to bring the boys in now. What's going on, guys? Today we have Satch and Freeze. The other guys couldn't make it, unfortunately.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
All right.
Yeah, well, it says Ringo's online. He might pop in.
It says he's offline for me.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, you right. Oops.
Yeah, unfortunately. All right, let me get the pop-out chat going so I can read this. Yeah, so Satch, you have any thoughts on what you made? I mean, it's pretty cool.
Oh. Yeah, well, I could go through the process a little bit. I did a little bit of live streaming on my channel. I started off with getting animations, popping in all these animations in Unreal, doing a few tests of the controls, trying to get the movement just right. And then I started making abilities. Spin stalling's in there, the regular cruise bubbles in there, sponge bowling is in there too.
Yeah,
And,
I gotta stress also to the viewers that it's not a finished product, and the intention of this was not to make it look exactly like the original. It's just we're doing this for like feel, for movement. So if the animations look unfinished and whatnot, that wasn't the purpose of this.
That's because they are.
Exactly.
The animations are very gross.
They're not supposed to be finished. Yeah.
We're not trying to one up Purple Lamp here. That's not the intention. We're just trying to demonstrate a very particular feeling that we have about the way that the movement should be for Rehydrated.
Satch actually went above and beyond, and he imported the map from Jellyfish Fields.
Barrier Reef.
And that's going to be in this as well. So let's bring it in. All right, here we are. So this actually does have controller support too, and we're just gonna walk around and see how it feels.
So this is your first time playing, right?
Yep, first time playing. So
now you said that the camera and everything is made with the
nice
default
T-pose.
player stuff.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Nice T-pose.
Oh yeah, he's hiding up there.
So
Gotta get a good scale.
one of the things that I notice first is that there is a mechanic in this game where if you tap the jump button, you can get a little tiny hop, and the more you hold it down, the longer you jump, the higher you jump. So I guess like that could be implemented into the next version. This is the same problem that was in the pre-alpha release for the one that we saw on Purple Lamp's stream, or THQ's stream. The pre-alpha release had this issue where you just kind of tap and it just sends you at full height. So yeah, you gotta have like full control over it.
Oh, that demo didn't have controlled jumping? I didn't even notice that, honestly.
Didn't seem so, no. We didn't notice at any point in the video tapping to control your height.
Interesting.
Alright,
Yeah,
so I
not
guess
even like accidental or anything.
I guess I wasn't that attentive to that detail.
It's
There
all
is
good.
a function for jumping where you can actually tell the engine to stop jumping, and that is when you release the button. Maybe it just isn't quick enough by default. I'll have to figure out a way to speed that up.
I like that bubble ball though.
Yeah, so for this animation, there's actually a funny story to it. Surprisingly, on a free animation site, there is no instance of somebody wiggling their right hand around. So I had to Frankenstein like a spell casting animation for the right hand only, and then do like a charge animation for the rest of the body and just squeeze them together.
It's still pretty cool looking though.
Barrier Reef.
the camera's good. I like the camera a lot.
Did spend a lot of time on the camera, so thank you.
Yeah, the only thing about it is like when you turn, it kind of drags a little bit. Like it doesn't pivot around his body. It's kind of hard to tell. I guess like here it's more noticeable.
I can see it kind of
Yeah.
like it's like the camera slides before it starts turning.
Yeah,
But it's still fairly close though. It's not like that's even
this
again,
feels
again
good,
we're not
though.
trying to be like super critical or anything.
Are you guys able to see the notifications on this? Because I feel like they're not able to. They just hear all these weird. They hear all these weird noises, but they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a raid. Thank you for the raid, Liam, and thank you guys for the subs so far. All right, they'll show up on screen now when you do them. All right,
Oh,
so let's get
sweet.
down to the main course. Let's find a flat wall. I guess this will work here. So how exactly did you implement this? Is it do you have this frame locked at 60?
Yes, it is frame locked at 60. So what I did was I started with the concept of the bubble bowl offset that I talked about last time. So last time we had a discussion about like speed versus this offset state that the bubble bowl puts you in. And I had to replicate that in Unreal first and foremost. So whenever you bubble bowl, it isn't actually SpongeBob moving. He's actually teleporting very small distances in front of him. So what you can do with that is you can make it so if you take SpongeBob's current speed, which is like including the offset as well, you can get his de facto speed by dividing that by the current frame rate. And then you can increase your momentum whenever you cruise boost.
When you were doing it in the video I saw, it looked a lot faster. Am I not doing it the right way?
You might just need to build up more speed.
Can you
Oh, I see
do
what
it
you mean.
multiple times, or
Yeah,
can you
so
stack it?
Okay,
You
I
have
kind of
to be up against a
see
flat wall.
now. Do I have to reload this now? Is that what?
Yeah, you have to hold down.
All right, hold on.
So I can disable clipping, but then you won't be able to slide. So I
Yeah.
left it in for now. Might
So
change it later.
it is a little bit different than it is in the original, but we got the basic concept down pretty well, I guess. I think there's just like I'll be able to explain it when I get to do it again. So what you have kind of going on right now. Let me try to do this. Oh, do you have it set to like you have to do it multiple times? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so. That was my understanding of cruise boosting. Is that you do one to get your initial speed, and then you do the second one to get the maximum.
Yeah. So there is a little bit of a misunderstanding there because it doesn't stack. What you're doing with cruise boosting is you're taking however fast you're going at a given point and trapping it as like a secondary speed that pushes you. But I should boot up the actual game. Let me do that.
I think that's what I did actually. Maybe I'm not explaining it correctly.
Yeah, like, because one of the things I noticed is, like, I think this has to do with the way he's turning. And I'll show that when I boot up the actual game in a second. I'll show you that.
So are you gonna pull up the original game just next to the
Yeah.
yeah, side by side?
Are you ready, kids?
All right.
That's pretty cool.
Now we're cooking. Okay. So let's just go to the actual the area that we're in right now. Let's make it. All right, so it's like when I run up to this wall and cruise boost, it's not gonna give me like a great amount of speed because the speed that I was running at when I hit the wall is this. Does that make sense? Like, do you see how I'm kind of like slowly sliding across? this is the speed that was added to it, because when I ran against it, for that frame that I ran against it at, I was running at the wall at this speed. So the reason why cruise boosting works is because we had this one thing here, and now that I had the cruise boost, I'm being forced to face in one direction.
Great Barrier Reef!
So when I pull to the side, I see that the notifications are still behind the thing. I'll put that up here. Yeah. So you see how when I run to the side, I'm still facing the wall because the first one is forcing me to face forward. See, I can like kind of moonwalk like this.
Oh, okay, so it locks your rotation.
Also, I
to the
gotta.
point where you're cruise boosting?
Yeah, to some extent.
Okay.
Also, I had like awful de-interlacing on that. I had to just kind of like, yeah. So yeah, this is this is like how it works. Like when you turn around, it very slowly rotates you. If you see how this is going now.
I see.
But this
Might
is
be a little
significant
tricky, but-
because when you go back and forth like this, you're still facing the wall. So you can do a second input with this speed right here. See that? So when you do it this way, this is the speed that you store instead. So now you have this speed. So another thing too is like, I think that the turning lock is kind of important for this, because the way it is right now, you can turn like completely around, and as you can see, like there's kind of like a force that just kind of makes you stay out of this certain designated area. It's like where he's pivoting around, if that makes sense, just because of the way he's being pushed. It's almost like you can draw like a little circular area. So
This is definitely a good example of where we really wish that we had the source code for this game. If we had
yeah,
access to that, we would be able to figure out exactly why in the code this happens. It's a very interesting anomaly.
it's also a very
it can be
difficult thing to reproduce as well.
It's fairly difficult to explain because the nature of it is so. I'm trying to think of the right word. It's extremely I don't know. It's specific. It's specific to the way that the engine does SpongeBob's movement in general.
So when I cruise boost up against this wall, I had the speed at the moment. If I pull to the side, you see how like he turns, like even when I have it, he turns still. This is like the part where it kind of gets weird, and then you turn around, like he's still kind of like walking. This is exactly what Freeze is saying. It's just kind of weird how it actually works. Where
You know,
you
and
can turn
Curtis
this way
brought up
and
a point in chat here, Shift. If you don't mind on the original game, try just do a regular bubble bowl, but also try turning while doing the bowl. Your rotation speed should be shorter, and I think that might be the rotation speed that you have with cruise boosting.
That's actually a good point.
That is a good point.
That actually is a very good point.
Thank you, Curtis. Yeah, I read that. I'm gonna give you credit. I'm not about to steal that thought point.
That's actually really smart. Yeah, that's so true. Because
So
when you
so
bowl
the
in
way
here,
that Curtis is
it's
saying is that you're
this
stuck
is-
in a bowling state, and that makes sense. And since the bowling has a particular speed that it moves you depending on how fast your strafing speed is. In the first case, you're walking forward, and then you bowl, and you have a speed. In that case, when you're strafing left and right, and you bowl in a slow cruise boost state, you have a faster strafing speed, and therefore, when you cruise boost, it locks the second faster speed in.
So it's what appears to give you that that kind of like pushing sensation, but it's not really. It's making you faster, but it's not like it's really a hand pushing you. You literally have slower rotation because you're in a bowling state. That makes sense. Didn't that be something that could be easily implemented? Satch, just like slower rotation while you're bowling.
Yeah, for sure. I'm starting to think there might be some kind of pivot action at play. Like if SpongeBob's able to keep going forward while the control stick's still facing back for some amount of time, there's going to be a more, I guess, nuanced implementation of rotation.
There's another small detail too, is like when you run in this in the remake thing you have going here. You can kind of like go up and down a straight line because when he turns, he like completely pivots around a set point. But if you see in the original version, when you go back and forth, he kind of like does like a little step turn. He like goes. If you can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I can see.
He rounds around a certain point as well. So there definitely is some pivoting going on, at least with the movement to some extent.
Yeah.
This is the
Unreal,
reason
that's
why
a
when you collect the spatula, like in the speed run, he zooms in and then he's like this. That's the reason why speedrunners jump and turn before they turn around, because it loses frames to, you know, turn around, and like this, you lose a little bit of frames because you're turning around longer. So instead we jump and we turn around to make it, you know, like a straight line.
I guess that's part of the difference between Unreal and Renderware is that Unreal's characters are, the pivot is always the capsule, which is always in the center no matter what. And that determines the direction you're moving and how fast you're walking and your collision.
I wonder if you can extend that pivot to in front of the player, like towards the front of the player from the center of the capsule.
Yeah, what actually is causing this little pivot thing that's going on? Like, I guess like lack of pivot, or what is the pivot? What would you say is the pivot point of the original? It's hard to tell. It's almost like whichever side he's turning on, honestly.
I think it's the front face of SpongeBob. Pointed outward. I think that's the pivot point. Like around where his nose is, probably.
Because it's funny because the other characters don't work the same way. Actually, no. It's when Patrick is carrying. Yeah, they actually do work the same way. But when Patrick is carrying something, it doesn't work that way, though. That's what it is. When Patrick is carrying a tiki, his pivot point is his actual body.
Well done, Pat.
Yeah, all the characters work the same way. But as you can see, when you pick up this tiki, it looks like the Unreal remake where he pivots around his center.
And Seal brought up a point in chat that they think that SpongeBob, when you walk forward, he only walks into the direction that he's facing. So for the first few frames that you're walking, he's turning. So he's moving forward and turning, which causes a kind of a wide turn.
I see. That could be something to investigate. I'm sure there's a variable for that somewhere.
So he only walks in the direction he's facing. This is all good.
Yeah, and the carrying movement code is different then. And that makes sense. I feel like that does make sense. Because you notice with Patrick, if you're turning around, he doesn't walk forward until his body faces the direction you want him to walk.
Now, one thing that you actually do have in here, I don't know if this is by design or not, but you do have the I guess like the slight turn mechanic here, where if you can turn without any sort of animation or movement. I don't know if that's because of like the lack of animation, but this actually is in the original game where you can very slightly turn without moving if you have the right analog input. So I don't know if that was intentional. Yeah, default. Yeah. That's what I figured.
And I just want to take a moment too to just say that I really appreciate Snatch doing this, or wow, I just said Snatch, Satch. Jesus Christ.
Oof.
I really appreciate Satch making this, because the amount of difficulty to make something like this in Unreal Engine, especially alone, and doing all the animations and movements, not easy.
Absolutely.
This is the reason why there has to be teams of developers that do this stuff, because you can't do this overnight.
Yeah, what Satch is doing here is very impressive, and considering that a lot of it does feel pretty good too. Like, it's not, this camera angle is great. I would love this. I could just show them this camera angle alone and the game would be 10 times better.
Oh, did you try spin selling it?
Yeah, I'm like investigating that now.
So what I said last stream was actually wrong. Spin stalling isn't some sort of launch you can just throw in Unreal and have it work exactly the same. It's actually a function that locks your Z velocity to be, in this version, it's a negative 500, I believe. So even if you're going up and you haven't even reached the apex of your jump yet, you can spin stall and go back down.
Okay, one of the things I notice now is like there's a little bit of momentum, like a little bit of a push when you jump in a direction, like almost kind of like kicks you, like or launches you in one direction. Is that also default?
That's also default.
Okay,
I tried
yeah.
to disable as much as I could, but I guess I couldn't shake it off completely.
Because in the original, you legit like have like full control, and it feels like you're just it's almost like you're just like dragging him across. How can I explain this? Like you're almost like choosing your position. You have so much control over it that when you jump, like you can just instantly stop in your tracks, or like if you can see like what I'm doing now. You have so much more control over like which way he like how fast he moves when he jumps. And you said like this is something you tried to disable. Is that what it is?
So by default, it has a lot of the air control in Unreal by default is like I think an eighth of what your ground control is. So I bumped that up to 1 just so it's the same. And then there's another variable called air boost, which is pretty much like that kicking thing you described. So
Yeah.
it said it's clamped at 1. That's like disabled, but I'll have to investigate that a little more.
Yeah, that's the thing is about the original is that it feels like it's the control is like so precise, it's like to a pinpoint like where you can stand and where you can jump. That's why like the setups like Sponge Glide and SBA and stuff like that are even possible because you have like such control over the manipulation over like which way you're facing, how every little pixel that you move on. Obviously, pixel I'm saying pixel as like a visual cue because obviously we're not working with pixels in a 3D game. But you know what I'm saying, like, yeah. That's really what we were not noticing in the rehydrated gameplay that we saw, is that it looked like the developer was just kind of like floating around, you know? That's what probably what the floatiness that we encountered in their footage is that's probably what that was.
Right. So Curtis here is saying that in the original that jumping doesn't affect your momentum, and that's probably a reason why it feels so smooth, because you can jump in the original, but you don't move until you actually you move the control stick, and you have a lot of control.
Yeah, that's what we were just saying too, is that like there's like a little bit of a modifier on it. So back to spin stalling. It's kind of hard to tell because I feel like because I'm not noticing it, it might just not be like stiff enough. Because
What do you mean stiff enough?
like it doesn't hold you in the air for long enough.
I did time it. I played the games with 2 hands, and it seems to do the same distance, but I'll investigate some more. It is a pretty low value, like negative 500 for a Z velocity is, still pretty fast.
I think that it's because it starts too late. If you pay attention to like when it starts to stall you and then push you down. It's because the I feel like the delay in the original starts on like frame 1.
Yeah, I think this one's like frame 4.
So you're already falling for quite a bit after that, aren't you? So that's probably why, like, maybe I don't know how the physics work in this game because I never played an Unreal game probably, but it seems like you're already kind of falling a little bit, so the momentum is still kind of present there.
No, it actually wipes out the momentum.
Oh, really? It just cuts it all?
Negative 500, yeah. During the whole duration of the animation.
Maybe it's just an illusion then. That's what I'm noticing.
It might be.
Yeah, he just seems to sink a little bit as you jump. Well, I mean, I guess like the cruise bubble is like the way the missile mechanics work. Is that really maybe it is important. I guess that's just camera rotation speed though. That's all just like camera rotation speed stuff. I feel like out of all the things that we talked about so far, it's probably the least important though. But yeah, this is a very good point that Curtis brought up, is the rotation. How you can just kind of do this.
Yeah, I think that's a key to a lot of the stuff I'm missing.
It's probably a key to the reason why cruise boost movement is the way it is.
Yeah, it's like we've been looking at it a different way, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like it's pushing you, but it's just kind of like it's like a sensation because you just don't turn as fast.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's like you're turning. It feels like you're turning so fast that you can't like physically turn, but maybe it's just a coincidence. So, do you have it set to like actually I can test this now. So how do you get a fast one? You just keep doing it?
Oh no, you have to be up against the wall, and then it still captures your speed.
Okay, there we go. I just got it.
Oh wow, that's fast.
This is like way faster than what you would usually get. This is like this is like DCB speed.
Yes, can you do DCB strats in this though? That's the real question.
Yeah,
Because I see that the bubble ball always bounces at least once.
The thing is,
So
like,
could
I don't
you
really
jump on it
care.
and then-
I don't really care if DCBs even work in the new one, honestly. Because
Sponge glider riot gang.
it doesn't really matter if it works exactly like the original, as long as it has like the base, the fun. And it's just still, what I'm doing right now is still pretty fun. Just like being able to turn like this. That's the only thing really. So, well, the only thing that makes the actual movement itself feel weird. Obviously the activation is a whole different thing, but like as far as this goes, that's the only one that like this movement feels a little bit weird. But other than that, like you still got this down, This still feels right. I just didn't realize until now how like crucial that turning speed is to how this feels. It's really what separates it from being just like making you run faster to actually being a full like different movement method. And another thing too is that this makes cruise boosting like suboptimal in some areas where there are tight turns and just like smaller, more precise platforms you got to cross.
I can only imagine what it would be like if cruise boosting was, if the turning speed was retained properly.
It would be like this.
Turns, like how would it be? Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's honestly, it doesn't even feel
the actual speed run.
It doesn't really feel as good, to be honest. It's just weird how like you have more control. It just feels like it literally is just running faster. But that's really what we were saying, is that it separates it so much from just bumping up the running speed. There's just so much more than that. It's making me appreciate the game more, actually, just playing this. That's really cool that we're like getting so deep into the intrinsic mechanics, though. Having this discussion. It's really, really good so far for what it is, honestly.
Yeah, this was 1 week of work.
Yeah, it shows. Like it's good. I think what you have here is at least closer to what they had in the for the movement in the one they were working on, the remake, the actual one. Because I think it's really the camera that really sells it for me. Because the camera is so good. Really does.
Z works, by the way. You can zoom it in.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this. It's fun. Yeah, there are just like a few things though. Like, if you want to make like the next version, maybe like a couple weeks from now, we can get back together and look at it if that's enough time. Because I know
I'll do my best.
you got stuff to work on too. I know.
Yeah.
You sacrificed a lot to make this shit, which is again like we're so really appreciative of it. We just had like so it's the tap jumping. Right, the being able to control how high you jump. What do we say? The turning speed. Do you think there's a way to fix the collision with the walls?
What do you mean? Like how you
Like
just
how
go
you just like
through?
kind of clip through?
I actually have a boolean for disabling that. Though if I do that, you don't slide up the walls like you're doing right now.
Well, I think it was never
Interesting.
like that. I think it was never like that though.
I mean, sliding like
Well, it's like
pretty
cause
much anywhere.
yeah,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
yeah, like
So like partially. Yeah, I see. You can't. It's not possible to set like a maximum steepness.
so
It
do you,
is, but because I'm kind of bastardizing the collision, I'm like teleporting SpongeBob instead of actually translating him.
Right.
It does little funky things. If you just bowl into a wall, you can see what it looks like if I have the no clip option on.
oh, I see.
You just stop dead.
Man, I really wish we had the source code for this game so people could figure this shit out.
Yeah, the code doesn't lie.
It's so strange. I don't even know how I got it that first time.
I think it's a little cheese where you have to click yourself up a rock or something to get some Z momentum. And it takes that into account when getting the de facto speed.
Yeah. Cause oh, you know what I noticed as well? It takes them a little bit of like startup time to get moving. Is that also default? Like it takes him a little bit of time to speed up to his full speed?
You know what's funny is that in the editor version, the one I was working on, it was fine, but I noticed as soon as I made this exe, it started doing that, so that's something I'll have to investigate.
Yeah. It's like this game is like super jittery. I know like my interlacing on this specific frame is awful. But it's like you tap it and it just goes flying. That's why it's so much fun. Yeah, I guess like just those things. Do you think it'd be possible to implement like a bash mechanic? It doesn't have to be like animated or anything, of course. Yeah. Yeah, bashing and I guess like slamming are the only things that would probably need to get added as far as just like gameplay stuff. Just to feel how it does to like to cross the gaps like that.
I'm still researching bashing a little bit. I don't know the specific name for the trick, but when in Rock Bottom, when you ride the hit stun of the Sleepy Time onto the island.
Oh, we're talking about damage boosting now.
Yeah, well, I think bashing might do something specific to damage boosting. Because I noticed whenever the bash ends, you get like crazy momentum, and I think that has something to do with the bash.
You can do it with jumping too.
It's just like a set period of time that you're in the air. It's all of a sudden it just happens.
When you're sliding off a ledge, you retain your momentum. So when you jump, there are like a set number of frames that when you slide off a ledge, like this, where you can jump. See how I can jump like this? But
I see.
Yeah, what it's doing is like you're being pushed while you're sliding off, so you're not technically on a ledge, so you have nothing to collide with. So you're bashing, but you're sliding off a ledge, so you're not being held back, and you just kind of go flying.
That's so much distance you can walk off a ledge and still have both jumps.
Yeah.
That's so busted.
Yeah, exactly. You just kind of like you just kind of float slowly down. But when you're cruise boosting, it's different though. When you're falling, because this game has gravity too. When you're falling, I guess that's like something for like maybe a later revision. But for this version, I just think we just focus on the turning speeds and the jump control, the sensitivity and stuff like that. But I guess for a later version, after we discuss those things, or like those things are reviewed, maybe implementing some form of like momentum when you fall. Because as you fall more in this game, it's not like it doesn't make you fall faster, but it makes you store this like value that makes you fall quicker off a ledge when you. I'll show you. This is the reason why we jump on top of Puff's head and bash for art skip, by the way. Well, he's like a weird shape, but yeah. Do you see how much faster he falls like this? Wait, hold on. Off the sledge. He just like kind of instantly hits the deck. But when I walk off without cruise boost, he just kind of slowly floats down. It's because when I do this, when you do cruise boosting, his momentum when he falls doesn't reset when he touches the ground. He's not really like, he's kind of just colliding with the ground. So when you touch the ground,
You know, I got a quick question.
Slam
Shift,
down.
what happens if you bowl off of a cliff, like just a regular bubble bowl? What happens? Do you slide down? Do you fall? Like how does the movement work when you do that?
it's pretty similar to just
Just regular fall. What if you
Yeah.
fall? What if you fall like parallel to the ledge? So like if you're walking along the ledge and then you bowl off of it, if that
like
makes
this.
any sense. Yeah, like that.
Well, it's not the bubble bowl. It's not the bubble bowl speed that's doing this weird thing where you like store your momentum. This is
Yeah.
just like the state where you're locked into a state, and just your momentum is not
Your
resetting.
vertical
It's just
momentum is
Yeah.
preserved. Yeah.
the only way you can reset it is if you spin.
Or does jumping not do it?
And oh yeah, jumping, right? Yeah, jumping does too.
So basically anything that where the player can influence your vertical momentum.
Yeah, unless you do that.
So falling doesn't. Jumping does.
Bashing does too.
Bashing does as well. Yeah, that makes sense because you're putting in an input.
So I think somehow every animation has a different falling speed.
Actually, the only one that doesn't is the cruise bubble, which is why Drain the Lake clip works, because you can, well, any lag clip really, because when you mash the L button, it does not reset your falling speed. You've seen, oh, excuse me. You've seen art skip. So this kind of like puts all those things together. So you use the stored momentum from falling off her head like that. It's like I'm colliding with the ground right now, and because the L trigger doesn't reset your downward momentum, you can just do that. So I was mashing the L button to get down there. And of course the cruise bubble actually does have frames where it doesn't detect your collision. So when you're lagging the game and you're being pushed into the ground and it's not detecting your collision, you just fall through. Yeah, it really is insane that it works the way it does.
There are a lot of things that I guess aren't really native to modern engines that would have to be remade.
Yeah.
I mean, they could definitely be replicated, just kind of cheesing some things. Like for this version, for example, the only reason that walls are so important is because I just wrote a line that said that check for walls in front of you before deciding if you should build up more speed.
Yeah, it's never going to work exactly the same way, but as long as the base stuff works the same way, like how your gravity doesn't reset when you touch the ground, the turning speed being different, that kind of stuff. So I think
It's definitely related to the way that the bowling code is programmed. You know,
most
what
of the
kind
criticisms of
properties
sorry,
does
Freeze, I was talking
sorry.
over you. Yeah, you're saying.
No, I was saying I wonder what the code for for the bubble bowl, I wonder what the code sets, like what states does it set the player in when you do a bubble bowl. I feel like if we knew that through the source code, that would probably solve everything about the behavior of cruise boost movement when you're not actually bowling. Man, I'd kill to see the source code of this game. Be really crazy.
Would you want to mess with memory values? Because like, I could hook you guys up with Dolphin and memory values to like change memory values if that would help.
I already have I have access to those already. 4's giving me all the stuff I need to know regarding that.
Okay.
and we can investigate it from the outside, but I really, really wish that I could see the actual code that runs it, because you can follow it. You can follow the code line by line and see what's happening in each line after you perform a bubble bowl. What values is it setting, and what variables is it changing?
Yeah, this is a super complex task to do without being able to see it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I think just replicating the way as long as it's fun and it feels sort of similar, if it doesn't work the exact same way, it can still be, you know,
Yeah,
still be
because
fun.
the other goal of this project was for it to be portable, so you could show Purple Lamp and be like, "This is what you need to do to get it kind of close to how it used to be."
Yeah, exactly. It
So if
doesn't
I
have to be
start messing
perfect.
with low level stuff like tearing apart Unreal Engine and trying to put it back together, it'll be a lot harder sell.
I think they're still in the stage where they could do that though. It's because pre-alpha. I'd honestly say whatever it takes to make it feel the way it does, and then they could like give their opinion on it or what they'd be willing to do, what they can do. Yeah.
Mm.
What's interesting is maybe it's just because the way collision works in this game. I mean, in this engine where you can like scale these walls. Are there to the modders in the chat? Are there like invisible walls or like designated like sliding points on some of these things that make you not able to climb up them? Also, this momentum thing. I think I actually was going to mention this when Freeze was talking earlier, but I forgot to. Yeah, this thing where like when you slide off the ledge, it gives you a little bit of speed. And that's kind of how the damage boosting works. I got it before. It's kind of how the damage
Really?
boosting works,
So
but it's
you're
not
like you're
like
touching
quite.
the wall as you're falling? Is that what you're doing?
I was like jumping as I was like sliding off. But there's
Hmm.
another thing too, is like when I jump out this way, it feels like it's super hard to get on top of here. But we already discussed that though.
Oh, I
It's
see.
like
Oh, I see what you're
yeah.
saying.
But I got this weird thing before where I jumped off, and it kind of like retained my momentum. I don't know. I don't know if I can reproduce it, but it happened at some point earlier. But yeah, this thing that you have going here where you can run off the ledge and still jump, that's pretty much how damage boosting works, is that you're being pushed and you're still off the ledge. So if you're like at this distance, you can still jump. But because you're being pushed, you just go faster.
Do you think this window is smaller than the original game?
It feels about the same.
Okay.
It's just weird because you fall so much faster in this. That's really what it is. The falling speed is a little bit faster, or it just feels different.
It might also be the animation because I did do a bunch of jumping tests.
Let's see that again. Let me go back to Jellyfish Fields here. Yeah, it actually might be shorter because you see this.
Yeah.
It's like
So I think the part of that is because this version is animation-based movement, like I explained last time, and because this one's using the capsule instead, it actually checks to see if you're falling. So there's a frame delay added on to the original where you can still jump.
no. We'll go back to this one. Oh, you know what? I couldn't tell because of the double jump. Yeah. I was doing a singular jump, so I couldn't tell because of the animation. You're right. Because, yeah, it's definitely way shorter. Now that I'm seeing it, I can't double jump. Yeah, scratch all that. I was only trying to do a singular jump. I didn't realize that the animation for both, they're the same animation, so I thought I was single jumping. Yeah. There doesn't even appear to be like any sort of leeway, actually. Like as soon as you jump, it doesn't even let you jump. So how would you implement something like that where you can run off the ledge like that, like you were saying a frame delay like earlier? But that was based on, yeah.
Yeah, so it would be something similar to the animation-based system that the original has. So as I described last time, where you have a one frame window of jumping when you get hit, that's because in the animation state machine, there's some pathway that doesn't exist where it has to go back into the idle pose first. And when it's in the idle pose for that one frame, you can jump. So if I replicate that in this version, I'll just have to talk to SpongeBob's animation.
Wait, are you saying there's only a one frame window for it? Is that what it is, or?
I thought that's what you said last time, right?
No. That's different. The one frame window is for taking damage. When
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
What I'm talking about now is running off the ledge.
Yeah, I know.
Those are different
thing. It's the same idea of using an animation-based movement system. So
yeah, because his animation for running isn't finished as he's running off the ledge.
Yes.
So yeah.
So he can only double jump once when he's falling, and then that's refreshed when he lands. So if I were to make that in this version, I would have to ignore whatever the capsule's doing, ignore if SpongeBob's actually falling or not, and then just see what animation is currently playing.
Right, that's it, yeah.
Right, yeah, because then if you're in a falling state, the first frame, you should be able to perform a double jump.
Yeah.
I like that SpongeBob's constantly looking down. Like his head just sort of like pancakes when he looks down.
Yeah, these animations were mapped to a person doing mocap originally, so not quite what you'd do for SpongeBob.
I think like if you could for the next version, for this maybe like tilt his head back for the second jump so it's easier to see like when he's doing his second jump for testing purposes. Would that be like too difficult to implement, or is it like maybe literally any indication that he's double jumping, like maybe like a flash of a color on his body or some shit?
I'll think of something.
It actually looks like he's like about to perform like a sick kickflip or something. Like pro skater when he jumps.
Yeah, just some small things. That's the thing, is like the small things add up a lot. Where I think it's good that we're looking at this now, so when I do go to Purple Lamp, I can bring these things up and I guess explain it the best way I can, because like, yeah, I'm not an expert by any means. I literally know nothing. But I was saying, Satch, it'd be cool if I could bring your resume to their studio and like offer it to them. They want to get into contact with you, because like obviously you're very experienced and you're also in contact with the community as well. So
you want to move to Belgium?
That would be fun.
Or no, they're not located in Belgium. They're in
Austria.
Austria, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to go live there?
Yeah. Work on SpongeBob until the game comes out and get kicked back.
Just come right back. Yeah, so I guess couple weeks, Satch, you think? Does that be appropriate?
I think so.
Because I think that would take us to October, and then at that point we'd probably already know when we're going. I feel like it'd be best to maybe not stream each version when you finished it, because if we did that, it would just be hell waiting for every Monday to stream it. Because, like, again, if I played this a few days ago, I could have, like, told you these things back then, and then we would have had the next version for this stream, perhaps. So I guess,
yeah,
like,
I
to
could have gotten some of these stuff done.
Exactly. So to speed up the process, just because we're running out of time before the actual Purple Lamp visit happens, I think, like, we could say that we probably won't be able to stream until, like, maybe at the final revision. Maybe the Monday before I leave would probably be appropriate. But I guess
you
we
said that was
just-
in October, right?
yeah, sometime in October. They're still, I guess they're still getting the travel plans ready because it's been like 6 days since they last replied. They're trying to figure out the logistics of it. Not sure, but yeah, I guess Satch will keep in touch with this and
Yeah.
see what happens. I guess I like that you implement the trampoline. That's cool.
No camera yet, though.
I think the camera is like relatively simple for that though. I don't think it's that important to get it like to. The only thing is like the scripted trampolines that we should probably like try to look at.
That'll be tricky.
Yeah, because all it does is like it overwrites. I mean, again, like from a coding perspective, I don't know if that's all it does, but at least from like the way, because we're trying to replicate how it feels. The way it feels is that whatever your current cruise boost momentum overwrites whatever the script is for the trampoline. And there's probably a second variable that says like you can move or you can't move when you're on it. Because there are some trampolines where you can move and there are some where you can't give analog input. But either way, like I feel like it's checking for two separate things, like your current velocity or your current momentum, which would be your cruise boost, like the bowling speed. And then there would be whether you can move or can't move. So I guess that'd be like something we could talk about off stream, because at this point I think there's not much more to say. I think what we have here is like a super good start though, and thank you again for working on this, man. It's really awesome that you were able to realize this.
It's definitely a lot of hard work, so we really appreciate you taking the time out to do this.
Absolutely.
You're welcome. It was really fun.
Yeah. There's not much more to talk about with this game going on right now, is there? Because we haven't gotten much more news from Purple Lamp or anything like that. All I know is that I feel like THQ is somewhat involved in this, because I know they've been checking out my YouTube channel, and they said that when I talked to Purple Lamp, they said that I'm like they need to like respect their non-disclosure agreement with like the potential podcast and stuff, because we mentioned that I wanted to have them on here with the dev from the original game, because that would really help answer a lot of our questions, I think, because didn't he single-handedly program the movement for SpongeBob? Almost certain he did.
I have no idea.
That would be a good podcast, actually, if we could get him on with you and the boys. Maybe we could try to work that out for maybe next Monday. Not worry about this this mock-up, but instead just like talk to the developer if we can get him on here at some point before the month ends. That'd probably be a good idea to. Yeah. We'll see if we can get him on next time. I'll work on that, because I know the modding community still has contact with him, and I guess I do too, because he messaged me like 2.5 years ago. That's how he like came into the community, is he messaged me. But I feel like the Discord message might be gone by now. I don't know if they auto delete or anything.
No,
I guess
delete.
that's something to expect in future podcasts. Yeah, that's something I would expect in future podcasts, is like just talking to the devs about how the original game worked more, because I think that this experiment kind of shows that there's a lot more than meets the eye to the cruise boost mechanic. There's just a lot more going on there that we can't really figure out perfectly without talking to somebody who actually worked on it or looking at the source code itself. But yeah, it just goes to show game development's not an easy thing. There's a lot that goes into it. Also, I gotta say as well, for the people who are watching on YouTube, I'm getting a lot of comments about, like, can you ask Purple Lamp this question? Can you ask Purple Lamp that question? Can you carry on this message to them? And to that I say, you guys have to use the contacts link to ask them questions like that now, because again, like, I'm going to test the game and, you know, see how it feels and give them feedback on my experience playing it based on stuff that you can't really see or like is Clancy Brown going to be in the remake, stuff like that. Like you can tell.
Well, we already have those answers too.
Do we have the Clancy Brown answer?
We do have well, yeah, we have the answer because during the reveal, the gameplay reveal stuff, they said that they preserved the original audio files from this game.
They also did say that they were open to replacing some of them. I think they did say that. They said they were going to do a full re-record for the German version.
They said full re-record for non-English.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
German,
Yeah,
fully re-recording it, but they specifically said for English, they kept everything the same. So
I think that the reason why they said that is because they're German, or they speak German themselves, or they're just unaware that the original version did not have all the original voice actors. So I guess it's tough to say. Like maybe they need to work that out with THQ Nordic to get a hold of Clancy Brown, or who knows, you could start like a petition or something to get Clancy Brown's attention. That'd be hilarious. I doubt that would gain any traction though. Like this community's got a lot of dedicated fans, but it's not like to the likes of, you know, other games that are like they have way bigger fan bases. But yeah, as I was saying, Purple Lamp Contact, make sure you use that to ask basic level questions or things that like you can answer without having to physically touch the game. Like I can certainly ask them questions that are going to help improve the game, but I think it's up to you guys too to ask those questions, like your basic questions to them. I'm not trying to be mean when I say that, but one, you'll get answers faster. Two, they still are open to taking feedback, so you can give them the feedback. They'll listen to you, and they'll listen to you, and they will. As I said, they're doing a what would you call it? Like a press conference or like some kind of a stream with THQ Nordic where they're going to answer questions that were in their feedback sometime soon. They said that at the end of the email that I got, and I mentioned that at the end of the video when I announced that I was invited. So they will be
that's interesting.
they will be teaming up with THQ Nordic to answer those questions. So make sure you do keep asking them in there again, because I don't want to go there and just be like an annoying little kid and just bombard them with questions about stuff they've probably been asked 1,000 times. Again, I'm not trying to be rude, but you guys gotta, ask them some of the questions on your own too. Especially because I can't ask them everything. Remember, I'm going to test stuff. I'm not going to just serve as like a messenger pigeon or whatever. So yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. Satch, again, thank you for coming on. I know, guys, this was no problem. I know this was kind of a short stream, but it was my pleasure having you on, guys. And guess we'll wrap this up sometime within the next month, and we'll see what Purple Lamp thinks of it if we can get it done.
Yeah, it'd be pretty epic.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned, guys, for the next podcast, which will probably be next Monday or the Monday after. I'll see if I can get a hold of Purple Lamp. I mean, not Purple Lamp. I'll see if I can get a hold of the dev of the original game. And
I do want to make a quick segue, real quick. So for you guys, all whoever's watching right now, don't forget, if you are a subscriber to Shift, you have access to the community lights, camera, pants repainted.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, we should talk about that.
We are currently out of the 1,800 textures in the game, we are at about 620, I believe. We're making great progress. I think we started on Friday. Last Friday is when I gave access to everyone, or last Thursday. I forget exactly what day, but everyone got access, and everyone's been making some crazy, funny textures. So if you want to take part, just go to the Discord server and take a look in the sub news, because that's got the link to the Google Drive, and you can take a look at the rules and how to submit stuff, because we really want some good memes. Because I'm not gonna lie, I've been playing I've been packing the textures together a bit early so I can check it out, because I'm a spoiled bitch. And it's really funny. It's gonna be some crazy shit.
Yeah.
And it's not done. It's nowhere near done. We really want all of the textures to be completed. I think when we did Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, we were short by like maybe 200 textures. I want to make the gap smaller for this one. I want to really have the whole game repainted, and and Shift's gonna be playing it live on his stream, so it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, just
Believe
reacting
me,
to all the
repaintings are
memes.
fun as fuck.
I think that Lights Camera Pants has a lot more textures than Revenge of the Flying Dutchman for sure, doesn't it?
It's got about double. Revenge of the Flying Dutchman had about 1,050. This one's got 1,800.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely take a look. There's some good memes. So if you want to showcase a meme, be funny.
The funny thing about the funny thing about the Lights Camera Pants repainted is that there are literal paintings inside the showcase where you unlock stuff. So we're gonna be going in there and they're just all gonna be memes.
they're already all edited. I know what everyone looks like. It's great. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
That includes all of the character models. Oh, and you can even watch the Mermaid Man movie with all the custom characters and everything's all fucked up and shit.
Yep.
The whole game is completely obliterated, even in its current state. So if we can get all those textures out, I want to see everyone come in. So make sure you stop in the Discord server, sub news channel, get in that Google Drive link, and let's fuck shit up.
Yeah, you guys got to get more involved with the meme shit if you're not already. It's really funny, all the meme runs and
you have no
that we
clue.
do.
You don't even know what anything looks like. You've
Oh no, I was saying in general, like I was saying in general, just like the meme runs and the repainteds that we do over here.
Oh right.
Like, yeah, just
right,
like in
yeah.
general. Even the Discord server, people just post a lot of shit. It's all good. Yeah, all good stuff. But yeah, I guess that's really it for that. Aside from the public service announcement, yeah, guys, remember, keep asking Purple Lamp questions. If you have a question that can be asked, go ask it to them. And trust me, guys, like, people are asking me stuff like, make sure you test to see if the hand works, which it does, by the way. We already saw in the video. Like, trust me that I've played this game for nearly 8,000 hours over the past 3.5 years, and I know exactly what to ask. It's like, I know exactly how the game is supposed to feel. I'm not going to forget anything. You have nothing to worry about. So, like, I've even had people asking me, like, make sure that cruise boosting works. It's just like stuff like that. I will. Trust me. You have to trust that I know what I'm doing, okay? You can put your faith in me because I've played the game so much and I know how it's supposed to feel. But yeah, aside from, like, that stuff, if there's anything that you want me to see, if it's in the game, I'll be down to look for that stuff. But as far as questions go, make sure you ask those questions to Purple Lamp, and they'll probably give you feedback. And again, like, I'm not going to be like, if you ask, like, if for example, if Mr. Krabs' voice lines are changed, whatever they tell, if you ask them that question, and if they get back to you and say we can't answer that question for you right now, I'm not going to be allowed to answer it for you either, because I'm probably going to have to sign a non-disclosure agreement to not talk about any of the stuff that I see. So again, like, I'm not like a secret agent going in to get information about the game that I'm not allowed to tell you. Like, I don't want to harm my relationship with these guys who are bringing our game back to life. So just remember that whatever you ask them, like whatever you want to ask me to ask them, you can ask them as well, and you'll get an answer way faster if you ask them. All right, guys.
Yeah, respect the man.
Respect Purple Lamp Studios.
Don't slap the hand that feeds you.
Yeah. All right, boys. I guess that's going to be it. Thanks for tuning into this episode, and I'll see you guys next time.
Peace out, boys.
See ya.
And Bob, boys.
And thank you again, Satch, for your wonderful work. We'll keep working together. We'll keep using the Discord server to, like, do the revisions and stuff. And yeah, I guess that's it. We'll do runs in about 5 minutes, boys. A little short break, and I'll see you then.
Epic time.